Hey guys, has this ever happened to you? You're planning a trip for a long time. You're meeting some of your friends. You're going to a cool destination. I went to Las Vegas last week. And you have a great time. For me, I met some old friends that I don't see very often. We acted like children because it was Las Vegas. No, we kept it clean. We kept it good. And at the end of the trip, I said, hey, let's look at some of those pictures that I took during the trip. I brought the Fujifilm X100F with me. I had my iPhone 8 Plus that does pretty well, not like the Fuji, obviously. And the whole time, the whole trip, I was there for about 4 days. I took 4 pictures, and none of them were with the Fuji X100F. They were all pictures on my phone. And I wasn't really out taking pictures when I took those. I just thought they were kind of interesting, so I took some pictures. Has that ever happened to you? Let me know in the comments if that's ever happened. And what a big mistake, because here I am on a YouTube channel oriented towards photography. I went to a lovely cinematic place that just comes alive at night. The marathon was going on. There was literally hundreds of photography possibilities around me. And I took 4 pictures. I did the channel a disservice. I did myself a disservice. I did you a disservice. And for that, I apologize. But I'm sure it's happened to some of you. You had high ambitions and it just didn't work out. And make no mistake, those can be great trips and not everything has to be about photography. But in hindsight, I wish it had been a little bit more about photography instead of just shenanigans the whole time. So that's question number 1 today.
To see Raymond's weekly show for members in its entirety, click the join button below. If you don't see a join button, there's a link in the description. Then you'll see all of the member exclusive content in the community tab.
Question number 2 is the Nikon Z6 is coming up for us. Now, Nikon has no love for this channel, so we haven't had our hands on a Nikon Z6. We bought one. It's going to show up maybe Friday this week, maybe early next week. And that's the first time that we'll have the camera in our hands. Now, obviously, we have the Z7 that we first used when we bought it, because that reason I mentioned before. And Leigh did a smashing review of the Nikon Z7. So let me get to the point here. We're obviously going to have a Nikon Z6 review coming up. I'm going to try to grab that thing before Leigh does. I failed at that last time. She took it and pretended it wasn't here yet and was off using it. It's what she does. So the Z6 is coming. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to start working on a review of it. Should we approach that review as a straight up review of the Z6, basically as though the Z7 doesn't exist, and look at the Z6 entirely standalone on its own merits? Should we go the other direction and say, hey, here's the Z6. You've seen the Z7 review. Here's how they compare directly to one another. Or should we basically review the Z6 and pay homage to its slightly more extravagant brother, the Z7, and kind of look at the Z6 on its own merits, but do some comparisons along the way? I have a feeling that third option is what you might recommend, but go ahead and let me know in the comments how we should approach that, because of our experience with the Z7, there's no reason why we can't be off and running with a Z6 review almost right away. I don't know. Maybe it's going to feel like a distinctly different camera. I have a feeling it's going to feel much the same with the slightly different characteristics that it has, namely the sensor size and some of the ISO performance. So let me know about that. You guys know how it works on Thursdays. Members, log in to your respective site. If you're here on YouTube, it'll be in the community tab. Leigh will tell you more about that in a second, and I'll catch up with you on that show. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
To see Raymond's weekly show for members in its entirety, click the join button below. If you don't see a join button, there's a link in the description. Then you'll see all of the member exclusive content in the community tab.